So B2K and Pretty Ricky had their verses, and apparently it was a mess, child. Okay? People were choosing sides, throwing shade, arguing in the group chat, but still living their absolute best nostalgic life. And I love that for us, okay? But before we get into the celebration, I need to talk about what was actually happening behind the scenes while we were out here learning every word to bump, 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 because B2K was not okay. And I don't mean the music. The music was perfect. I mean the people making it. The men running the operation, the things that have been said on record by the people who lived it. Today we going all the way in, so grab some popcorn and let's go. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Indescribable, aka Geraldine Lake, and I'm back with another video trip down memory lane. Now, what really happened to B2K? Real quick, for context, B2K means Boys of the New Millennium. 4 teenagers from Los Angeles, Omarion, Lil Fizz, J Boog, and Raz B formed in 1998. Their first album dropped in 2002 and the debut went gold. Their second album, Pandemonium, went platinum. Bump, Bump, Bump hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. They starred in You Got Served. I mean, they were everywhere. And then in 2004, barely 2 years after blowing up, it was just over, just like that. The official statement said internal disagreements. And sure, technically, that is true. But it's also technically true that the Titanic had water issues. There was so much more going on, and it all traces back to one man. The name you need to know is Chris Stokes. Stokes was B2K's manager, their producer, and the head of their label, TUG, The Ultimate Group. He was also Raz B's older cousin. He was the architect of basically everything about B2K. Their sound, their image, their contracts, their access to the industry. And here's the thing about having that much control over a group of teenage boys with no industry knowledge and no independent advocates in the room. Power like that can go two ways. Stokes had already been doing this before B2K because he discovered Marcus Houston when Houston was 8 years old and built the group immature around him. By the time B2K came along, Stokes had a blueprint for exactly how he operated with young male artists. Now, when B2K broke up in 2004, 3 of the 4 members, Fizz, J Boog, and Raz B, publicly broke from Stokes' management. They released a joint statement that said, "We just want to be treated fairly." Not we want to pursue solo projects, not it's been a great run, I'ma holler at y'all later. We just want to be treated fairly. Now, Omarion stayed with Stokes, launched his solo career and under TUG management. He had 2 albums debut at #1, and by the optics of the industry, things looked fine. But the other 3, they were done, and eventually the world would find out why. Now, I need y'all to understand the weight of what I'm about to tell you. On Christmas Eve of 2007, Raz B posted videos to YouTube making allegations of sexual abuse against Chris Stokes, his own cousin, his manager, the man who had managed his entire career since he was a child. Raz B alleged that Stokes had touched him beginning when he was just 11 years old. He also alleged that Stokes forced the group members to shower together. He alleged that Marcus Houston, who was both an artist under Stokes and a close associate, was also involved in the abuse. Raz B's brother Ricardo, who went by Ricky Romance, confirmed the allegations and said the abuse had been brought to him first. In one of the videos, there is audio of what the brothers claimed was a recorded phone call with Stokes. On that call, Stokes is heard saying, documented by Pollstar, MTV, and multiple other outlets at the time, "I don't do that anymore. That was me years ago. I just don't do that anymore." Now, Chris Stokes denied the recording was what Raz B said it was. He released a statement calling the accusations vehemently false. He said he had recently stopped financially supporting both brothers and suggested they were motivated by resentment and money. 2 days later, on December 26th, Raz B posted a retraction video. He apologized, said the allegations were not true, but here is what Raz B himself said later about that retraction. He said he feared for his life when he made it. His manager at the time publicly stated that Raz was forced into that apology. Now, in the retraction video, witnesses noted he could not look directly at the camera. Stokes, of course, denied everything, and the retraction gave people all the excuse they needed to dismiss it and move on. This was in 2007, y'all. I was still in high school, before the Me Too movement, before Surviving R. Kelly changed how we listen to survivors, before the culture had the language or the desire to sit with something this uncomfortable about people we loved. The internet laughed at Raz B, called him unstable, dismissed him, and simply moved on. 3 years later, Raz B came forward again. This time he released a recorded conversation between himself and Quentin Tarver, another young artist who had been signed under Stokes' label. Quentin Tarver had spoken to Vibe magazine in 2008 and confirmed that something had happened to him as well. In the 2010 recording, both men described graphic details of alleged abuse. Essence and multiple other outlets covered it. Marcus Houston responded by filing a restraining order against Raz B, calling the allegations false and saying Raz B had a deranged demeanor. A California judge granted that order. Stokes continued to deny everything. And Omarion, who throughout all of this remained aligned with Stokes, publicly defended his manager. In 2007, when the first allegations broke, Omarion said on record that Stokes was a father figure to him and that he stood behind him with no questions whatsoever. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time judging Omarion for that. He was in his early 20s. He was still under that man's management, and the complexity of being connected to an alleged abuser, who was also the person who built your career, is something I don't think most of us can fully imagine from the outside looking in. But I'm noting it because it matters to the full picture. Fast forward to 2019. B2K reunites for the Millennium Tour. All 4 members, fans lose their minds. It is a moment. And then Raz B starts posting on Instagram from the tour. He says he doesn't feel safe because he believes Chris Stokes is around the group. He announces he's leaving. He says, I'm off the tour. If Omarion wants to come talk to me, I'll do the tour, but I am officially off the tour. And then he looks at the camera and says, I guess we're about to shoot the new Surviving Chris Stokes movie. So call Lifetime because I'm ready to talk. He said call Lifetime. It was 2019. Surviving R. Kelly had just aired. Raz B watched that documentary and said, that's my template. And he was not wrong to draw that parallel. Hours later, the group released a joint statement saying Raz B would remain on the tour and they were supporting his well-being. He rejoined briefly. Then at a stop in Nashville, he walked off the stage mid-performance and posted, I'm clearly alone in this. He was eventually announced as leaving the tour for health reasons. The tour continued without him. Now, when people dismiss Raz B as unstable or erratic, I need y'all to understand that a person who has been alleging childhood sexual abuse for over a decade with minimal institutional support, no criminal charges ever filed, and an entire industry silence around them, they might look a lot like things from the outside that have nothing to do with whether or not they are telling the truth. Trauma is not linear, and discrediting survivors based on their behavior is one of the oldest tricks in the book. Okay, now let me give y'all the group drama that's not about abuse allegations, because there is a whole separate layer of beef here that is just regular boy band dysfunction, okay? In 2022, Omarion did a solo versus against Mario. Now, Mario brought out B2K impersonators to act as his backup dancers, which was Mario throwing shade. Omarion did throw a dig at Mario saying, you wasn't in the Millennium Tour, and Mario clapped back, I ain't want to be in that raggedy shit. He childish. J-Boog responded publicly and aired what was described as a slew of dirty laundry. The whole thing blew up on social media, after which Omarion announced a 5-part docuseries called Omega, The Gift and the Curse, where he addressed the B2K fallout, the 2019 tour drama, and because apparently we needed one more layer, Lil Fizz's relationship with April Jones. For the people who don't know, April Jones is the mother of Omarion's 2 children. And Lil Fizz, his bandmate, started dating her very publicly in 2019, right in the middle of the Millennium Tour reunion. I know. I know. It was so messy, child, okay? Omarion responded to the whole situation by saying he was unbothered, which somehow became a whole viral catchphrase. He even named his book after it. But unbothered and actually fine are 2 totally different things. So here we are in 2026. B2K is back together, all 4 members. They performed at the BET Awards last year. They did the Boys for Life tour with Bow Wow, and they just did a Verzuz against Pretty Ricky. And by all accounts, there is genuine healing happening in this group. J-Boog laughed, recounting how Omarion had literally told them, I'm not working with y'all. And then they all got back together anyway. So Omarion himself even said there was a lack of communication and he just had to mature. That's real. You know, growth is real, and I'm genuinely rooting for all 4 of them. But don't forget, Chris Stokes never faced criminal charges. He continued to work in film and television throughout all of this. Marcus Houston denied the allegations, got a restraining order, and kept his career. And Raz B spent the better part of 2 decades being called everything from a liar to unstable to a clout chaser, while the men he accused faced no institutional consequences. Now, we all watched B2K on that Verzuz stage, and we screamed every word to every song, and we should. That music is ours. Those memories are ours. But we should also know the full story of how it got made, who it cost, and who is still waiting on accountability that may never come. And that is what it means to be an informed fan, not a conspiracy theorist, not a hater, just an informed fan. And Raz B said it himself, I'm here to vindicate myself because I'm not going to allow for my voice to be silent, nor am I going to allow for my light to be dimmed any longer. That man deserved better from this industry. He still does. Now, the hits were real, the talent was real, and the damage was also very real. B2K gave a whole generation of us something, and honoring that means being willing to see all of it, not just the parts that feel good. So watch the Verzuz, enjoy every second, scream girlfriend at the top of your lungs, and then come back here. Because we got to keep having these conversations. Now, don't forget to like this video, drop a comment letting me know who you thought won the Verzuz, and then subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know every single time your girl uploads. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.